category that this is a cyclical bear market, traditional to the 4-year cycle of Bitcoin, and you've just crossed the halfway mark of the halving, and so you're on your way to the back half of this thing. You typically don't get any type of real recovery until the first quarter of next year, and because we had this slightly accelerated, and I think this was macro related to President Trump and some of his tweeting and the tariffs, and then obviously now there's a war. Although I would say Bitcoin's been fairly sticky during the war, over the last 5 or 6 weeks of the war, you probably won't see a recovery in Bitcoin until maybe the first month of the last quarter, right? So we're talking October, possibly November of this year. And so, people will be very down on Bitcoin. They'll be very down on the alt market, be very down on Solana. And of course, they'll be wrong because it's really just more of a cyclical thing. But I think where people are upset is that they thought, wow, we got a new administration that's positive on crypto. We're basically in like a jailhouse with Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren. We were talking before the show started. I mean, these people were brutal. And so you were thinking that you were going to get better regulation, you were going to get better legislation, and you were going to get a ton of buying as a result of the ETF activity, Solana ETF, Ethereum ETF, obviously the Bitcoin ETF, quite celebrated. And you didn't necessarily get that, but you did not get it, meaning you're still seeing a lot of Bitcoin buying, a lot of boomers are buying Bitcoin, but it's just not enough, because you got whales that are selling into the OGs in this industry believe in the 4-year cycle. And so what they do is they fulfill the prophecy of the 4-year cycle by acting on the 4-year cycle and selling. The whales were pumping lots of coins into the supply at around 100,000, and that's why we dropped into the high 60s.